Roger Federer versus Cam Norrie, round 3, Wimbledon 2021. Review. Spoilers ahead, so if you don't want the results spoiled for you or you have not watched the match, click away in 3, 2, 1. Reasons for concern, even in a victory for Roger Federer, who beat Norrie 6-4, 6-4, 5-7, 6-4. And even further reasons for concern if you listen to his post-match interview, but I might be reading a little too much into it. All of that and more, starting with pros and cons for both players in general, then we casually go through set by set, after which I tell you what I felt about the post-match interview. Cam Norrie, pros, solid forehand, depth, topspin, decent angles as well, and he's very balanced when he hits it, so that's a consistent weapon that he has. And also decent shot tolerance. He can manage a rally. He can depend on the forehand to generate decent, respectable depth and good shots in respectable locations for the opponent. Not easily exploitable. On the backhand side, it's not an extraordinary shot. It's a solid B minus backhand. He does not generate a lot of offense. Sometimes when the opponent's incoming shot is fast, Norrie can have a stable return, which just ricochets very quickly and results in a winner, in a ricochet winner almost. So that's the backhand. Now to the serve. I don't like Norrie's service motion, but he's also very young, so there's every chance for him to improve it. I realize that he just got knocked out by the most successful grass court tennis player of all time. However, in going by what I saw, Norrie's service motion is very jerky at one specific time. When he's in the trophy position, he breaks the kinetic chain, and after that, when the ball is stationary in the air, he quickly whips the ball back, but it puts a lot of strain on his shoulder. So it seems to me that he has to make it a lot more fluid for his arm, or more specifically his shoulder, not to break down in the long run. That said, his service was good for the most part. He also served a few aces. However, another problem for him, especially in the first game of the match, was that he served a lot of double faults. Not in very critical moments of the match did he serve a double fault, but in general, he's coming out on the red with regard to aces versus double faults. His serve is good. His serve is varied as well, but he has the ability to hit crisp flat serves, which he uses as a surprise, but from what it seemed to me, he could use the tactic of serving more offensively. The grass is slow anyway, so he's not getting a lot of skid. No one is getting a lot of skid off the turf, so it bears mention that people can try it more often. Let's see how that goes. As for Federer, the forehand is the best news for Roger Federer. Aside from a very specific kind of forehand, his forehand has been constantly improving since the Manarino match in round 1. And today, the forehand came up big in very critical moments as well. There were relatively fewer shanks, and he was finding angles all across the court. You could see glimpses of Federer in full flow, what it would look like. So he's getting more and more confident in the forehand, which is great news. Bad news is that his backhand is not good. If you look at the statistics, to which I will get to later, but the statistics do not tell you the full story as to how glaring the weakness on the backhand is. Because in the highlight reels, if you watch the highlights of this match, the Wimbledon collaborators will show you that he's hitting a few down the line crisp backhand service return winners, or in the rally he's hitting a down the line backhand or a very beautiful cross court backhand. But that's momentary, aesthetically pleasing, effective shot. But on the whole, the backhand is not reliable. His slice is also not bailing him out as often as he would probably like, and the shot is not generating a lot of depth. The consistency is not there. As a general rule, if you look at the match, you just need to hit the ball to Federer's backhand corner, not just to his backhand, but to his backhand corner thrice in a row, and there's a good 60-40 chance that he will make an error. He will commit an error. And that is concerning because, of course, Djokovic's coaches, Kyrgios's coach, if he has one, I'm not entirely sure, all the top 10, they're watching Federer's matches to keep stock of how well he's improving from match to match. And the backhand is a massive weakness. If it was the French Open and Federer was going up against Nadal, he would get murdered simply by the age-old tactic. Very successful, going to the well again and again, but there's no reason to change that tactic because it's going to be successful no matter what. In Wimbledon, Federer is not in this tournament. He's not employing the defensive tactic of just hitting a defensive lob. Not necessarily when the opponent is at the net. Federer is not defending with a lob with a high backhand because whenever it's to his shoulder height or higher, Federer is slicing it or trying to get away a good shot, but it's so far away from his contact point that his hopes for getting a successful or even a respectably deep shot in response is negligible. So he definitely needs to look at the tactics on the backhand. And if I remember correctly, one of the things that resulted in Neo Backhand 2017 was repeated drills to the backhand. So have him hit 150 backhands in a row, maybe not that much, 30, and then you do a lot of sets of that. Just continuously hit the backhand, get the reps and get the repetition muscle memory, build the muscle memory so that it serves him well because the backhand is going to be broken down in a potential. I'm not saying he's going to get there. In fact, I am very suspicious of how far Federer can go, especially after his post-match comments. But even if he gets to a final with Djokovic, I believe he has the ingredients to cause Djokovic a lot of trouble, but there's such a glaring weakness that the chink in the armor is so obvious that there's no way that Federer can even dream of being artistic or tactical because he would not be able to get out of this very obvious hole. You hit the Federer backhand again and again, it's going to be a shanked shot or he's going to hit it to the net, and it's happened unceremoniously a lot of times. So that's the biggest glaring issue with Federer's current game. As for his mindset, the mindset is fine, but it's typical Federer. Ideally, if I were to make an extremely positive assessment of his entire game today, I would be coming to you telling you that the match was won by Federer 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 because he had three opportunities of 15-40 to break and then serve out the match. But he did not take it the first two times. Only the third time he took that opportunity. And that is just unfortunate. But anyway, let's go set by set. Oh, okay, as for Federer's serve is serving him well. Well, no pun intended. It's doing him a lot of favors. It's giving him some free points, but not as much as you would expect. As for the statistics, we'll get to it after the set by set. The first set, very closely matched for the most part. Federer was trying to establish himself from the early going, but you can just notice that as the set progresses, Federer is playing himself into good form. It's not from the beginning. He's not showing a lot of form from the very beginning. He's finding his feet and he's finding his movement, assessing the grass. Then he is reacting to the opponent. So he's not attacking from the get-go. As for breakpoint opportunities, he did not have too many. He did take the breakpoint opportunity at 4-4, so he went up 5-4 and then he served it out to get the first set. The second set was more or less a similar story. The first game of the Federer broke at 3-3, went up 4-3, served 5-3. Norrie held for 5-4, then Federer served out the set to win 6-4. Set number 2, Federer got the break, a lucky break, just like Gasquet third set last match. He got a lucky break because Norrie made an unforced error, handing Federer a 2-1 lead, and then Federer kept on his consistency and also improving the forehand slowly. So he held his way through to winning the second set 6-4. Almost identical, but obvious problems with his backhand, like I already mentioned. Third set. Now that brings me to the two opportunities that he had to break and then serve for the match, which he did not take. The first two he did not take. 4-4. The match is level. Federer, like the champion he is, he finds the opportunities. He's using his forehand to his benefit, also coming to the net mostly successfully on the back of his serve, but also in the middle of rallies. He's using the volley very effectively on the whole. His smash is perfect so far. never really been a problem for him to put away smashes, but good to see that continue despite being 39 years old. What 4-4, 15-40. Roger Federer has two set points to then be in a position to serve for the match. 4-4. Does not take it. Norrie hits a serve. Federer commits those backhand errors, which are characteristic of him, especially in this match. He has another opportunity. 5-5, if I'm not mistaken. 5-5, 15-40. Again, another chance to break and then serve for the match at 6-5. Does not take that opportunity either. He is behind 5-6, serving to then cause a tiebreak. And then he loses his serve, handing Norrie the third set. Norrie deserved it. He was also benefiting from the crowd reaction, slowly leaning toward him because they also wanted to see a longer match, and he's a hometown favorite, so that makes all the sense in the world. Fourth set, Federer was against momentum. He had a lot of trouble trying to hold serve, but he did hold serve. That was, to his credit, a great turn of events when he, against the run of play, he managed to hold serve. His forehand, his best friend, aside from his underlining absolute best weapon, no, not even weapon, his most constant element of his game that has been his most reliable friend in a way, is his second serve. Even when his first serve is not going, Federer did not show any signs of reducing the quality or the spin on his second serve, and that has been his most that is the reason he's not losing ridiculously badly. That's all I can say, especially in the Monterino match. And that is continued. The second serve is the basis, and then you have the forehand serving him well, the serve occasionally bailing him out of tough spots. So he holds for 1-1, and at 4-4 again, Federer had the chance to come ahead. He took the chance this time around at the third time of calling, and then he was serving for the match. This time, at the third time of calling, he was able to accomplish that. Now, reasons for concern I've already told you from the point of his play. I'll also back that up with the statistics if I can find a lot of evidence to that. Aces, Federer had 7, Norrie had 12. Double faults, Federer had none. Again, a testament to his second serve. Double faults, Norrie had 7. First serve percentage, 67 for Federer, so his serve was more solid than the last time. 66% for Norrie. Norrie's serve is just not that effective in general, so that's not a very definite indicator. First serve points won, 74% for Federer, 68 for Norrie. Unreturned serves, 44 for Federer, 36 for Norrie. Break points won, 4 out of 11 for Federer, 2 out of 4 for Norrie. Federer has to take more breakpoint opportunities, but that's nothing new. 30 out of 38 net points won by Federer. As I said, his net game was more or less very sound. He was choosing the perfect time to make the approach. Not to say I can probably count on my hand the ones I recall him missing. The approach shot typically is not deep enough, not angled enough, and yet he causes pressure. In order to cause pressure to his opponent, Federer makes the approach prematurely, and then more often than not, when that is the case, he loses the point. Net points won for Norrie, 16 out of 25. Total unforced errors, 33 for Federer, 32 for Norrie. Total winners, 48 for Federer, 34 for Norrie. This is mostly going to be further evidence of his forehand, serving him really well, bailing him out on multiple occasions, but that's a good sign. If he gets the timing on the forehand, then he will be very well equipped to counter a lot of the targeting of his backhand in future rounds. Total points won, 132 for Federer, 114 for Norrie. In the end, a very convincing victory, you can say, but there's always an assessment at the back of my mind going on. What are the top elite players going to do? I also remember that I mentioned one particular kind of forehand which was not working for Federer, and that was the half volley, or even more so, the forehand which is below the net, so you need to generate a lot of topspin for the ball to dip while at the same time being penetrating toward whichever side the hitter chose. So that shot was not going all that well for Federer, but even more so, the the half volleys that Federer would usually make, and he was making against Gasquet. He has a spell over Gasquet, but that's also common knowledge. Federer was not running a lot to hit down the line. He can do that. He actually should try a little more to do that. But that was the only facet of the forehand which was failing him on a few occasions. Now, going finally to his post match interview. And of course, he was in good spirits. He won the match. And he said that he really loved his performance. And I understand why he's saying that because he was in a tough spot and he fought his way out of that. So that, of course, is going to build some confidence. And that is what he should focus on. Thankfully, he does not have to worry about a lot of the other things. He just has to work on that. So that's the best way to do this. However, then he was talking of the usual Federer things, classy, giving his opponent a lot of credit, that Norrie deserved the third set. Of course he did, but Federer points that out. Then he starts talking of how special it is to play, and that he's 39 years old and he's still playing. With every match, he's always accomplishing something. And after this match, I found out via the interviewer's question that this was the 69th fourth round, fourth round that Federer was going to make, and that's all well and good, but you don't you don't need those things to be asked all the time. Another example of this is Venus Williams getting asked, "How do you sustain the level at an older age?" I think she's been answering that question since the last 10 years. And Federer has been answering retirement questions or how is he doing it at his age questions for the past more than decades. Ever since 2009, everyone's asking him, "How long can you keep it up?" Like, why don't you find out? Let it be a suspenseful story. But everyone just mentions these records, and Federer is such a nice guy. He's always going to just acknowledge those things, and in his acknowledgement of his longevity, he also mentions that I don't know how long I can keep this up. I'm just grateful to play this, and just saying all the right things. But if that is truly how he feels, then I sincerely doubt any chances of him winning the tournament or just making a very motivated effort to win the entire thing. This is not his last go, as far as I'm concerned. He's playing Hala next year, so by that time, I believe he would have a better idea, injury notwithstanding. If he does not have an injury, then he would have a better idea of where he stands. He's not played anything, so as far as I'm concerned, this is still a test run. Of course, it's Wimbledon, so he had to show up. He has to give it everything he's got, and he's doing that. As for effort, Roger Federer, A plus. There are absolutely no complaints whatsoever. He's a 39-year-old coming back from two major surgeries after having been away for 14 months. Effort is all there. His motivation to play is all there. It's just about his outlook. The thing that concerns me the most is that you cannot be just happy to be there. And you're going to get killed by someone who's just hungrier. So I question how hungry Federer is at this point, but that is based only on his comments. I don't know what is actually going on in his head. If he is sincerely is out to win the title and announce his return on the tour, that might very well be the case. But based on his comments, it is very worrying because no one has ever won a single point on the court by respecting the tournament, by respecting his opponent. You always have to be believing. You have to have self belief, and you have to have some element of unbridled confidence. You cannot care about the occasion, the ambiance. It's Wimbledon, yes, but you have to win, and to win, you cannot take stock of everything else that's going on and how amazing it is that you're still playing at 39. Those things are going to be there. Yes, it is extraordinary. It's unheard of what he's doing, and everyone knows that. And there are, in fact, I have always campaigned for people to keep repeating that because just because he's Roger Federer, a lot of people just forget that this man is almost 40 and in the third round after not having played for that long. But he has to have some killer instinct. I will keep repeating that. That'll be my hill to die on for as long as I'm covering this tournament, which will be the whole way through. But that is the most concerning thing. He has to have the same spirit that Djokovic showed at the Australian Open when he went up against Medvedev this year. You have what's his name, Mats Wilander, however he prefers to be pronounced. He is constantly shilling this next-gen agenda to Novak Djokovic, and I think Djokovic also grew tired of it, evidence in two separate answers he's given to the question. One of them, before the Australian Open final, was when asked about Medvedev and how Medvedev had not lost to anybody. Djokovic just said, listen, I'm going to make them work their backsides off. Absolutely. And that is the way it should be. Yes, Djokovic is 34 years old. Most of the next gen is way younger. Aside from Team, everyone is way younger. 10 years younger, 9 years younger, you name it. Or even more. Tsitsipas is 11 years younger. A lot of these things. So, notwithstanding, you get tired of the repeated agenda that, yeah, you're old, you're old. Yeah, everyone knows you're old. I'm still here. I'm the best. And in Roger Federer's case, I'm still here. I'm the 8-time Wimbledon champion. I'm here to win. Simple as that. None of this catering to the crowd, catering to I'm there. Of course, this is just me picking on what I hope to be the mindset. He knows how to win. He's a 20-time Grand Slam champion. I have no clue of the mindset and the physicality that it requires to even be in the fourth round at 39 years old. All respect to the champion. However, I just believe he would have a more significant shot, more focus on winning if he just kept those things on the side. When he's on the court, he has to have a killer instinct. Anyway, that's all from me. I will be covering Djokovic's match the next time, which is I'm anticipating for it to be a very easy outing for Djokovic, but that's why they play the matches. I will see you next time. Let me know how you felt about the match, and hit like and subscribe. We're looking for growth even in this channel. Until next time, this is Duncan Lievi. Cheers.